Good morning, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing a video to you on a subject that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know. And I'm going to respond in this video to a short video I just watched, which is linked in the description below. It's a man reacting to a clip from the World Banking Organization, a meeting where a woman is describing the plan moving forward, apparently on behalf of the whole world, that money will be soon gotten rid of in exchange for cryptocurrency or blockchain technology. If you're familiar with those solutions, those technologies, I'm not going to do a deep dive into all that stuff, but I do want to talk about the idea of getting rid of money and replacing it with blockchain. Consider, first of all, that it's not even possible to get rid of money conventionally, because before we had centralized currency, that is some kind of government that prints and issues an official currency that you had barter, you had distributed currency in the form of herbs or items that were common but valuable that people would exchange as money, and this can't be gotten rid of. Okay, so if it becomes too complex or convoluted, whatever system they're proposing, including something that requires networks, online communication, then people will just resort back to the way it used to be. They will resort back to trading goods and items, and sometimes marijuana has traditionally been used as that in some cultures, as currency. They will just adopt their own barter system or some kind of decentralized monetary unit that it's commonly recognized and valuable. So not to worry too much about this. I will say that the chance of this succeeding is very slim. I wouldn't worry about that, because it would require everybody to depend on something that is not able to support the entire weight of the planetary economic system. That is, some kind of internet or network that was reliable enough and that had the people's confidence enough so that they would use it. There's two parts to this. Understand that there's the pitch, which is the sales pitch, and then there's the buy-in. So this isn't one of those things where some lady or organization or an entire government can just waltz in and say, here's how it's going to be. No, I'm sorry, it's not, because people have always had, unfortunately sometimes, the opportunity to trade things under the table, and you know exactly what that means. Getting paid under the table means it's out of the view of taxation, it's out of the view of the authorities or official reporting or bookkeeping, and while that's very seldom recommended, it's not proper, it's not legal, it is also always at hand. So if the system itself becomes ridiculous, if it becomes overly draconian and oppressive and manipulative of the people, and I will talk more about that in just a moment as to why they would make this change at all, then the people will just start trading under the table. Obviously, they will establish and start using unofficial channels of monetary exchange. So the reason why that this system, that switching from cash, which is what they're trying to get rid of. They want to get rid of cash because that's too much power in your hands, to something more manageable, something that they can remotely manage from their desk, right? That's the holy grail of administration. If I can just sit at my desk and never leave my office and click a button, and all of a sudden, my pieces on the board move here and there, and we can control people and keep the peace, and I keep my income, then that's a win for everybody. They think. So they tried to do this. They already tried to do this. When do you suppose this idea has been rolled out before? Oh, well, it's with our current money system, actually. It's the fact that we have a Treasury Department, a U.S. Treasury Department. Every country participates in the centralized banking system. It's the centralization itself that was that proposal and solution, so that we can control it, monitor it, and manage the people ultimately. The point isn't to have something useful, it's to have the people under control by way of money, by way of centralized and convenient management of all banking processes. So this is only the logical next step in that original plan. They just didn't happen to have networks back then. They didn't happen to have blockchain technology whereby it was easy to just click a button and all of a sudden your entire account is just gone, and you have no cash, you have no nothing. So they're going to try to do this. They being the people who have a vested interest in your obedience, the people who have a vested interest in tax revenue, things that are funded and financed by the working class, but the people themselves don't necessarily have to rise to a particular level of quality of service. They just expect this river of income to continue forever. There are great chunks of our society who are built atop this expectation of permanency of taxation, where it's just because it's done at gunpoint. It's one of the only businesses that runs at gunpoint in the world, because they can, apparently, that these people have expected. They've grown fat on this guaranteed income. It's guaranteed year after year. We know how many people we have, we know how large the working class is, and we have a ruling class that is armed by way of law enforcement that will keep you in your tax cubicle. Therefore, we can predict and expect a consistent amount of revenue every year, year over year, and then all that's left is to budget it out, to divvy it up, to fund whatever the heck we want. We don't even have to tell the people what we're doing, because they're thinking that they decided already, because they went down to the voting booth. They went down to the voting booth and they picked some candidates, and they thought that they were doing their best. And we have countless agencies and departments and services that have zero to do with public service, nothing to do with them. They're not visible, they're not accounted for, and we have national secrecy to protect these cloaked budgets. We have the military, the entire military, which once it absorbs tax revenue, it's all protected. It's opaque. There's opaque bookkeeping, if any bookkeeping. And this is a digression, but it's connected to the subject where to finally make the transition from hard currency, that's cash that you can hold in hand, which was after bartering and trading of common goods and services in a distributed way. The next step is to turn it digital, of course, and you could have predicted this. To turn it digital, it's the ultimate in light speed efficiency, as far as flipping a switch to turn off entire sections of your community if you need to. Oh, so you got a whole city that's rebelling? No, you don't, because we just turned off that entire city's money. We just took their entire revenue and we switched it to a different city. You see the appeal, right? I clicked 2 buttons and all of a sudden this entire state is off-grid. How do you feel? We couldn't do that before. So this is what they want, but because it's so ridiculous, it's too easy. It should seem too easy because it is too easy. The people cannot abide by it. It's got many points of failure, and the most immediate one is that people are just going to start bartering again. It's too much. It's too much. They're reaching way too far. They're overextending themselves, and they aren't even providing the basic services that they were supposed to originally, the basic human services. The one job that they have isn't even being done. So I have no concerns about this being successful. It's not going to work. They may in fact try, and things might get worse before they get better, but it will not take root because it can't be supported. It just won't work. So that's a lot to say. Reach out if you like with questions down below. Thank you.